What is the weirdest thing you believed as a kid? Like, subscribe, leave a comment down below with what subreddits you want me to cover next, and let's get started. I thought my belly button was where my skin was tied together. I thought if I messed with it too much, my skin would come off. Ooh, I've got a good one. For whatever reason, I thought if something was wrapped in plastic and kept for a really long time, it would increase in value. My parents watched a lot of Antiques Roadshow, which is the only explanation I can offer, besides me being a weird kid. So I received a wrapped game of Parcheesi for a birthday or something like that, and I kept it in my closet, waiting for the day it would surely be worth hundreds. My older brothers convinced me that women had penises that could pull out of their vajayjays. I was 8. Oh boy, I was born in 1989 for reference. 1. Antennas on top of roofs were skeletal remains of crashed airplanes. 2. The police would randomly check in on houses to make sure no crimes were being committed. So if I ate cookies or spilled juice, I would blame it on the police. Gas stations were mandated to provide free air, as they were responsible for depleting all air from the planet, so they had to allow anyone who needed it to get it. Speaking of planets, I thought protein was planet, and cheese had a lot of planet because the moon was made from cheese. They considered it planet because it occurred before they knew the moon wasn't a planet. And finally, storefronts with help wanted signs were stupid, because they never showed the criminal who was wanted, even though they needed our help. One day, my father opened a letter that arrived, and he exclaimed that our neighbor died. He was an older man who was around 60 at the time. The next day, I left my house to go to school. When on my way, I saw my neighbor. I seriously thought I was seeing a ghost and was freaking out for a while. I later realized we also had neighbors on the other side of us, but I only ever saw the wife of the deceased person, and genuinely didn't know she was living alone at the time. That if my feet were anywhere near the edge of a bed, a monster would come and grab me. I slept in the fetal position ever since. No. You're correct about that one. The monsters are coming for you, and there's nothing you can do to change it. Sleep in the fetal position all you want. I believe that stuff got better. I believed that the Cadbury eggs had raw eggs inside them. I believed I'd be tall when I'm an adult. I'm 5'1". Narrator laughs and 6'1" tall. You poor, pathetic fool. That a white, fat man flew around the world and gave billions of people presents and fits his fat ass down a chimney. That all cats were girls and all dogs were boys. I knew blood was inside me because I had seen it come out, but I had no idea about organs. At one point, I thought I was basically just a giant sack of blood without anything else inside, kind of like a water balloon. I believe my parents loved me. That babies were born from the butthole. That mushrooms can hear you and will hide when looking for them. My dad used to take me moral mushroom hunting when I was a kid and always told me to be as quiet as possible, 'cause the mushrooms will go back into the ground if they hear. Many years later, I just found out we were trespassing on somebody's property. Whoops! I thought teachers slept at school. I believe that escaping poverty would be easy. It's not easy, and the job market makes me cry myself to sleep. I really believe that I could cry... Let me restart that one. I really believe that I could speak my grandma's cat by meowing, and they would actually understand me. That I thought quicksand would be a very big problem in life. I believe that inside streetlights were trained mice with tiny ladders and lanterns. I believe that my grandparents lived in a black and white world. I thought real life was black and white back then. I thought that grown-ups knew everything. When I was a grown-up, so would I. I believed Hogwarts would be a real university. I wanted to go there. I'm still waiting on my letter, Dumbledore. You pee to make babies. I actually believe that one. My mom had the eyes on the back of her head somewhere under all those curls. I believe that. My mom taught me humans have two stomachs. One, an ordinary stomach, and two, a dessert stomach. Her reasoning was this: no matter how full you are, you always have room for dessert. And I believed this for such a long time, until I was a teenager and had biology in school. My dad told me when I was potty training that if I sat on the toilet for too long, my toes would turn blue and fall off. I believed that until I was like 17. I believed that playing with toads would give me warts. I missed out on so many toads. They're such cute little frickers. I believed that if I swallowed a grape seed, it would grow into a full vine and sprout out my nose. I believe people were confined to my television and acting out routines for me to live every single time, even during reruns. I'm not sure that would be more disturbing than the reality of the entertainment industry anyway. I believed that I would grow up to be anything. A birth defect and a heart failure later, and I'm just trying to live life to the fullest. I also thought The Undertaker was real in the WWFE. No one explained it to me as a kid. His opening entrance, plus the Ministry of Darkness era, terrified me. I believe that Jesus was Santa. When I was a kid, I've always believed that people who spoke other languages would think first about what they wanted to say in my language. I'm Italian, and then talk in German, English, and Spanish. I believed that our hands would blow off if we stuck them out the car window. I also believed if we didn't rinse off dishes really well when washing dishes by hand, we'd get this terrible disease called the G.I. Joe shits. To this day, I will rewash a dish if my husband leaves soap suds on it. We don't have a dishwasher or room for one. I believe that justice prevails. And after seeing the CEO get justice for being shot and technically he's culpable for murdering many people, no, justice does not prevail. Anyway, whenever I saw one of those reporters on TV with press written on their clothes or hat, I thought somebody was supposed to physically press the person. Come on, you gotta get pressed, bro. You gotta get pressed. Get you pressed in a little pancake so the pancake boys can eat ya. I believe that Reddit narrators record all their recordings in one sitting. Oh, am I not supposed to? Oh no. Oh no! I believe that ice melting in a drink made the drink colder. So if I put a bunch of ice in a drink and then microwaved it until the ice had all melted, it would make the drink super cold a lot quicker. I believe that a car would run out of beeps and my parents would have to get a new one. We couldn't afford a new one, and it definitely stopped us from honking the horn. I believed that I wanted to be an adult. I thought it'd be so fun. I've so far been disappointed with adulting. I thought a wildebeest was a rapper named Wildebeest. I believed in ghosts. I believed the mailman was parking his car in my mother's garage under the covers. I believed that nothing was worse than being made fun of for having a crush on a girl. No one could ever know that I had a crush on someone, or it would destroy my life. I believe that something is wrong with me, and not the BS society that can't cope with freaks deviating from the norm. I believed you had to be from a wealthy family to get good jobs and had to pay your way in. To be honest, I was kinda right. I believe that teachers were only allowed in the schools and not allowed to go anywhere else. I about freaked out the first time I ran into a teacher at the grocery store with my dad. I believe that if you eat Pop Rocks and drink soda, your stomach's gonna blow up. I used to think people would volunteer to be off to make horror movies. Can I volunteer? Says the narrator. I wanna die. No, really, I am suffering. Please send help. I believe that Reddit had the answers. I believe that if you want to develop a street with a state name, that you were in that state. Also, if you went through a green light at an intersection and could see the red light on the opposite direction, that you ran a red light. I had a habit of always sticking my finger into my belly button. My grandmother told me that if I kept doing it, my butt would fall off. I believed that for longer than I care to admit. I believed that if I had a sharp enough razor blade and I was really steady and fast, I could split an atom when cutting through paper. Honestly, I'm glad you couldn't split an atom. We have enough nuclear bombs in the world, kid. I believe that if you swallow a watermelon seed, a watermelon will grow in your stomach. I totally believed that and was paranoid for weeks after eating watermelon. Ah, you gotta love the classics. I thought clouds were snow that hadn't fallen yet. Honestly, you're kind of close with that one. Clouds are just rain that hasn't fallen yet. Right? Right? I believe that light sources at night had beams coming off of them with an X was a superpower, and I could see ley lines or something. Nah, my eyes were just screwed up. I believed Michael Jackson bathed in milk to get a whiter skin. I thought nuns were bald and that if you sniffed a flower Queen Anne's lance, you'd wet the bed that night. Well, that one's certainly unique. I thought that I was an alien. Thanks, Rugrats! I used to half listen to whatever my parents had on the radio in the car, and I remember being 5 years old and thinking Palestinians were Palest Indians. Like everyone kept talking about things happening to these rich people in India. Why were they always in the news? Was it because they are rich? Why couldn't they just enjoy their palaces and stay out of the news? Thinking back now, it had to be sometime around the Olasso records. I had an irrational fear of electric sockets. Someone may hide behind them and shoot me with lasers, I thought. Okay, before I end the video, I have something to say about that last one. I plugged in like a little nightlight that was Christmas themed a long time ago. It blew up in my face, and a spider crawled out. So I always thought that light bulbs were spider powered since then. I've only recently found out, wait, light bulbs aren't powered by spiders? Oh my god! Anyway, I will see you all next time. Have a nice day. Like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and have a nice one.